Leeds United are set for a big clash against Derby County today, and honestly, I'm feeling fairly confident about it, but I thought I'd dive into it in a little bit more detail, give you a fairly full preview of what's going on around the entire situation, and ultimately give my own prediction. So, I'm going to start off with a few little hints about the Leeds United lineup that we have had recently. Of course, we can talk about the press conference where we learned that the left back question is a bigger question than we thought. Max Foba is potentially going to start because Junior Firpo got a knock in training. Isaac Schmidt is in training, but he's not healthy enough to start a game yet. And Sam Byram still isn't quite available. Really unfortunate. There's also a conversation to be had around the striker, with Joel Piroux looking a little bit disappointing against Blackburn. In addition to that, Patrick Bamford might be ahead of Mateo Joseph in the pecking order. Joseph hasn't looked fantastic recently either, so there's a big question mark around who plays at number 9. But we do have a couple of little hints that we've received from the club, because they tend to drop little social media posts ahead of the match to sort of say, oh, look out for this person tomorrow. Specifically, we've seen Jayden Bogle, Laji Ramazani, and Manor Solomon pop up in some Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky post, either way. So we can expect to see all of those, I think, which shows a very sort of energetic set of wing players, which should be very, very interesting for us to be able to see. But I think regardless of the specific players we've got on the pitch, the whole squad's form is very relevant, so I had a little look at that and I thought I'd compare them. At home this season, Leeds United have won 7 of our 9 matches, including the last 6 on the bounce. The one before that was the match against Burnley, where I think if Manor Solomon has slightly longer studs, we probably win that game. Conceding let Burnley sit back and back and back and wait and wait and wait, and eventually we just ran out of football game to beat them in. Meanwhile, Derby's form isn't fantastic. The 19th in the away table, having scored just 6 points in their last 5 away matches, which puts them in very, very, very serious trouble at the moment, at least when they're on the road away from Pride Park. Another interesting note, they haven't won a single match anywhere in over a month. It was literally the 6th of November, the last time they won a game. That was against Coventry, who are, let's have a quick look at the full standings, currently sat in 16th. So they're not hugely impressing anywhere at the moment, and that is especially visible when you take a look at Derby County's squad. They're an ageing side. They are the highest average age of any squad in the Championship, and it's 3 years older than Leeds United at something like 28.4 years old. It ain't a young bunch, and they already have the 3rd least level of possession in the entire division. It shows that they don't necessarily like having the ball, because they could really do with sitting and not having to do that much moving. They don't want to be the ones trying to make the quick runs and drive and have a little bit of impetus, because that's not really what they do particularly. In addition to that, they're overperforming a little bit on XG, which tends to indicate a sort of counter-attacking approach a lot of the time, and something we'll need to keep an eye out for is they have more dead ball goal creations than any other side in the league, with 9. Considering they have scored a grand total in the league of, let's have a quick look at this, 22 goals. It's more than a third of their goals. It's about 40% coming from dead ball situations alone. For context, Leeds United have, I'm going to bring up a specific number, but I know that Leeds United have 1. And dead ball goals, a hell of a lot of sides don't get that many. 4, I think, is the next closest number, according to FBref. So assuming that is correct, which it tends to be, because FBref tends to be very much on point. Spooky. Don't give them corners, don't give them free kicks. And they have attempted more long balls than Leeds United this season, especially important because you consider they've completed half as many passes as we have this season. That shows that they don't necessarily like to play it around at the back. They will tend to go, look, where is there an option? Fire it up to the option and hope that it sticks with them. In terms of their structure, they have tried 6 different formations this season already, so it shows that they've got a lot of variance and can move about a bit depending on who they're playing against. And I think the most sort of applicable match that they played was against Sunderland, where they used a 5-4-1. I think we can very likely see something similar to this against Leeds United at Elland Road, because they will have watched the other matches that we've played. They will have watched the other sides that have been successful against us and said, oh, cool, so we can just sit in a couple of banks, a single forward, hoping to hit him on the transition, and wait to see if something works out for us. I think they'll especially be hoping for corners and free kicks because they know that they score a lot of goals from that, and we know that we're relatively weak at it. However, they have been repeatedly caught out on the counter. I watched a couple other games highlights recently, and wow, there was quite a lot of conceding goals because of transitional stuff. And I think that relates very highly to what Leeds United can do. First up, we can make Derby really, really work very hard in this match. When we win the ball, we need to counter hard and with pace because consider the age of their players. One specific player that I picked out, the first one that I checked because I figured, hey, who's likely to play against the likes of Alaji Ramazani? I looked at their left back. The left back is Craig Forsyth, who is currently, I'll get the specifics for you, 35 years, 287 days of age. Now, that might be fine for a lot of championship defenders. It's not necessarily going to be brilliant for a guy that could be facing off against Laji Ramazani. And we need to be using our youth, we need to be using our pace, we need to be using our trickery and skill to try and break through them, challenge them, make them think, where's he going to go? And if they make the mistake, they won't necessarily have the speed under their boots to be able to recover and deal with it. The more we're able to hit them quickly, the more we'll tire them out and the more we'll cause them problems. And we've got to remember, we've got a hell of a bench. It's fast, it's tricky, it scores goals. So if we're able to focus on the pace and focus on making things difficult for them, we'll be in a really good position. In addition to that, obviously, we'll need to actively limit the dead ball opportunities that they get. If it looks like the ball's going out for a corner, maybe go for the throw-in instead, purely based on the fact that conceding corners against these guys is danger. Avoid free kicks in dangerous areas, as you might expect, and ultimately put on a show. We know that once the Elland Road crowd is properly behind the team, the performances get better because players thrive on the noise and the atmosphere and the vibe that Elland Road can bring. And the players need to bring that out of the crowd because they're not going to cheer for nothing. Yeah, they'll do their best. But if things end up a little bit meh, it's going to increasingly start looking like a match that the crowd are going to struggle to get into. And I think they'll bring that. I think we will look to be hard and fast and active and moving and going. And as much as we're doing that, as fast as we are able to attack them, we're going to cause them a lot of problems. And I think we're going to win this match. So my prediction, I'm going to go for a nice, healthy 2-0 win. Safe. A lot of people might complain because we might not finish all the chances that we get. But I think defensively we're solid enough, and I think we will exploit those vulnerabilities quite a lot. I'm not sure on the finishing, but I still feel like we'll win relatively comfortably. But at the end of the day, as always, that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always really appreciated, especially if you're just coming over from a little stint on Jer's channel. Be good to see you. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.